Hey, what's up? This is Joe. I'm in little town of Kinder, Louisiana. Looks like I'm about to get stormed on right now. I wanted to make this video to share with you the worst storm that I've ever been through on my 3 years on the road. I was staying in Niceville, Florida. A buddy of mine had flown down to go sailboat shopping. All of a sudden, I started seeing this line on the radar going from like New Orleans to Arkansas, just like a red line, basically moving east in my direction. I waited and watched the radar from inside my tent until that red line started getting close. I started seeing hail advisories, tornado advisories, seek shelter. About 3/4 of a mile down from where I was camped, there was a picnic shelter. I grabbed as much stuff as I could carry, rode the bike into the picnic shelter, and waited out what was to be one of the craziest storms that I've ever seen and been that close to. There was something like 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That's what they said. But at one point I could hear this distinctive like whooshing sound. Almost sounded like a freight train, like nearby, but like coming from the sky. The entire woods were just completely lit up with lightning almost constantly. It was just like boom, 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 boom. So this will take you on a breakdown of what it was like to experience that storm from the position of a dirty motorcycle vagabond. And hopefully there's some useful sort of tips and things like that if you're ever on a motorcycle and you have to go through something like this. If you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, I've included an optional donate link in the drop box if you'd like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna get the heck out of here. There are times when living on a motorcycle is great. You're living life out in the wind and are free to set your own schedule. You wake to the sound of birds chirping outside your tent, and life is full of depth. And then there's times when it doesn't quite work like that. I've learned to keep a keen eye on the weather and plan my trips accordingly. In this way, I've been fairly successful in staying warm and dry throughout my travels. As you'll see in this video, there are times when one truly is at the mercy of the elements despite the best possible planning. Just into my second week in Niceville, Florida, I experienced a severe electrical storm complete with hail, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and a tornado touching down within earshot of my camp. More on that later. Now that I'd replaced my fuel joint with the temporary fix of radiator bypass hose, I could relax doing what I enjoy best, cooking large slabs of meat over a wood fire. Lamb chops. They're pretty dramatically cheaper than the beef at the store, so it raises some interesting questions. Why is beef about twice the price of lamb? No problem for me. I love lamb. This lamb looks absolutely delicious. As always, olive oil. Ooh. Another trick to clean the grill. Take a half an onion. Clean and flavor the grill. It's absolutely delicious. It's got a little bit more of a gamey flavor to it, more of an irony, kind of a livery sort of a flavor in most of it, but it's every bit as rich and delicious as beef. You can even take these little bones. Oh. That is delicious sheep butter. Fantastic. The next morning I woke up and headed down to Destin Commons to meet my buddy James, who'd flown in from Virginia to look for a sailboat. They were having a boat show down there, and he was going to try and talk to someone about financing. The journey down would take me across a 3.6-mile bridge spanning the Choctawhatchee Bay. So I'm in Destin Commons, about to meet our buddy James. You got to give our brother credit, man. He was gonna buy a sailboat down here, bought his plane ticket and everything. The guy sold it to somebody else. He came down anyway, so he's been a good sport about it. Staying in the harbor, doing some boat work, helping people raise masts. He's learning about it. Even though life put a lot of obstacles in his way, he's doing everything he can to continue to invest in his passion and what he wants to do. Sailboats aren't really my thing, but just out here to be supportive. Also, it doesn't hurt that one of my favorite shops in the entire universe is out here, Bass Pro Shops. Let's get the turkey in the back.
Turkey's always good.
So what's going on, man?
Well, I shot that turkey and flying a boat, man. So it's gonna be kind
So you think it might work out?
I don't know. We'll see. Now I gotta come on over right now.
Awesome.
They're ready for me. So let's go check it out.
So yeah, we got to give it to our brother James because he's staying in the game, man.
And cleaned the beaches since 8 o'clock this morning.
No kid, clean the beaches too.
Yeah, going through picking up trash and litter.
James went to talk to the finance guys while I checked out the totally badass high-powered airboats. I pictured myself tearing across the swamp in one of these bad boys, shooting gators with a 22 and bringing in the pelts. Hell, maybe they'd even give me my own TV show. Good God. Look at the radiator on that bad boy. A little while later, James got the news that he'd qualified for a sailboat in his price range. There was just such a boat located in New Orleans. All he'd have to do is get it back there to his slip in Niceville. I've been living on the road and in the woods for the better part of the last 3 years, and as a result, I've learned to become acutely tuned into the weather. It's not very often I get caught in nasty stuff, but this night was to prove exceptional. I'd been keeping an eye on a front which was moving northeast and had already wreaked havoc from New Orleans to Arkansas. I continued watching the radar until about 12 a.m. when the tornado and hail advisories began coming in. It was strongly advised, they said, to seek shelter on the ground floor of a building and curl into a ball in the case of flying debris from a tornado. At about 12:30 a.m., I grabbed as much stuff as I could carry and rode to a picnic shelter about a half mile down the road. Well, last night really sucked. I knew they were calling for thunderstorms. I wasn't particularly worried until I saw the tornado watch and the hail warning for ping pong ball sized hail. As soon as I saw that warning, I got the hell out of there. Rode my bike in the dark down this muddy, sandy road to a picnic shelter that they had over that way, and it came in like the hand of God. Lightning coming down almost constant. I was glad that I was not exposed in my tent over there, which is actually over there drying right now. I have heard stories about people getting struck by lightning in their tent. I waited it out until 4 a.m. and then I hiked in the rain back up here, got my sleeping pad and my motorcycle jacket, hiked back down there and slept under the shelter. My Gore-Tex pants really came in handy, and I stayed pretty warm and got a few hours of sleep. Woke up at about 6:30, managed to make my way back through the puddles and everything else. There were 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So all of the rain just kind of went like this, and just a lot of sand and debris and stuff like that was sort of puddled all over everything. These are the Gore-Tex pants that literally saved my ass last night. I've ridden through hail a couple of times, but nothing like this. That was the worst storm that I've ever been through. When I'd gotten my stuff more or less dried out, I headed to the harbor where James was staying on a friend's fishing boat. Incredibly, where he was staying in the harbor had largely been spared the onslaught of the storm. About a quarter mile of my driveway was composed of an interesting mixture of both soft sugar sand and reddish brown mud. This stuff was tricky at first, especially on a big heavy sport tourer. As the days rolled on, I learned to ride it comfortably by maintaining a steady throttle throughout, no matter how squirrely the bike felt, and keeping a loose grip on the bars which allowed the bike to naturally straighten itself. This place is jumping, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
I know.
He got a good catch.
That's a big one.
We got another one.
Is that
A couple of big ones.
Yeah.
Tuna, right?
King mackerel
What's that?
and bonita.
That's a king mackerel.
Oh, beauty.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
I got what you did. I see
See what I did there?
I see what you did.
That's a bonita. That's what we use for bait.
Oh, cool.
That's a pretty
You use that for bait?
Yeah, nobody eats these. They're
Oh,
really-
really?
Yeah.
They're super gamey and like it's fishy fish kind of.
This looks like a Dexter boat. It's like a
Where's the plastic wrap?
This is different than a lot of other marinas I've been to,
That's
man.
what I'm telling you.
This
The
is
reason
very
it's
different.
family owned. Everybody here knows everybody. This
The
is like
roots.
the most low key off. That's why I want to get in here so bad. So, her cabin, her aft cabin there, it is like a full on. It's bigger than my bedroom that I had in Black.
No kidding.
It's huge.
This is the one you were talking about, the house?
Yeah, nearly perfect. Hey, Patty, how are you? Good, good. Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Good. So Janine is here. She lives on her boat. She's right there.
Okay.
Looks like she's about to go diving. This is the boom that I replaced yesterday. Guy, the boat
Okay.
owner, that's Ryan. You want to see the boat I'm probably gonna get?
Is it here?
Yeah, the same model. I went inside it the other day. It's nice.
It's a Beneteau.
Yep.
So it's not really a racing boat,
Actually, this one's a performance boat. Yeah.
is it?
Yep.
But not really seaworthy for like
This is an offshore.
going across the Atlantic.
People have done it. See how the wheels way back at the back?
Yeah.
It's not good for. It's not protected well enough to go. You could do it. That thing flips down. The seats right there.
Yeah.
The drummer's gonna go. Horn. Everything else you can possibly imagine. We have enough room on this. So and then I can't show the interior obviously, but
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh, cool. Serious fishing boat.
Yeah.
This is the one you're on?
Yep. Here we go. Bienvenue. So this is the other thing. That's the galley, and that's the head, full working shower and everything. That
Okay.
pump that's going is for the toilet.
Okay.
Randy yesterday, he goes, you know what I do? He turned on the water and just pissed in the sink. He's like, it goes straight out to the water. Ain't nobody out there. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna use the head real quick.
Oh, wow. This is a big boat.
Yeah.
Cool little bedroom,
Well, yeah, the door doesn't lock either, so I got.
galley. He doesn't have one of those stoves on the swing?
Yeah. No, I don't think so anyway. We looked at that.
So there are some times where you'll have to climb to the top of your mast.
Yeah. The whole sail is stored in the mast. See how that will get pulled out, and the whole
Oh, no
sail.
kidding.
That's how
That's the
mine
type
works.
that you have?
Yes, and you see all the ones like my buddy's boat over there where it's all
so
rolled up.
The sail is in the mast?
In the mast.
Right now?
Yeah. Wow. Called in-mast furling. So yeah, his sail, that's one of the things he told me. With an in-mast furling, you don't want to go out to seas because you can't reef the same way. And reefing is in like really high winds. So what you would do with this is you take it down and it has reefing lines on it. So it shows you, depending on what the level of weather, they have lines to tell you where to go to be able to handle the amount of speed. Oh, you want to see something cool? Look at that nest up there. There were ospreys living in there. And then a bald eagle came by. The bald eagle just retook it today. And the ospreys won, and they were giving birth, and the eagle was going after their young. And I think the eagle won because the ospreys are gone. Bald eagle, America's mascot. Don't fuck with America.
So that's a what, a 30-footer?
It'll tell you on the size.
So my time here is coming to a close. Only a couple more things I got to take care of. I'm going to replace that piece of radiator hose with the actual OEM part. Now that my buddy James had apparently gotten the pieces in motion for acquiring his sailboat, I started making preparations to leave. Between having my fuel joint break and having a front row seat in the middle of such a powerful storm, I'd again learned an important lesson in respecting the elements. While you can never really predict when and how nature makes her presence known, a little bit of respect can sometimes keep you out of harm's way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.